Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of HairTube. I'm here today with Kota. Thanks for coming to join us. Doing something a little bit different today. We're actually not going to be cutting very much. I'm just going to be trimming her hair up, but today we're going to actually do a little bit of a style video. So I'm going to share a little styling technique with you guys about how to build like an editorial wave in hair. We're actually going to work with quite strong curl and brush it out to create an editorial look. You will get to see me do her haircut. It's probably not a lot different to the haircuts I've done previously. Obviously, actually it will be because I'm cutting it to suit her face shape and her body size, but we want to maintain as much length as we can so we can actually style it and make it quite big. We're going to take her over the base and we're going to use the So Silver shampoo and conditioner so that we can budge some of that bronzy tone that's coming through out of the ends. And then we're going to come back and start. You excited?
Yeah.
You just don't want me to cut all your hair off. I think she'd look amazing with short hair. What if we could get like 200 or 300 people to say you'd look good with short hair? Would you cut it off?
Let's see what happens.
Make sure you put a comment at the bottom of this video, and if you want to see with short hair, let us know, we'll get her to come back. But we're going to go to the basin now. Ready?
Ready.
We're back from the basin. We prepped the hair. In the interest of time, off camera I've pre-dried, and now we're just going to section up for our haircut, and then we're going to move straight into our look for today. We'll take our first section, just about cutting this baseline nice and strong. Once we've done that, we'll continue through to the rest of the hair on top. As you've heard me say before, just take a section that you can handle with your scissor and your comb. I'm not real fussed on super small or big sections, but what we want to try and do on Kota is we just want to create some baseline here. So you can see it's a little bit gappy on the ends. Head straight ahead for me. No, you're looking in the mirror and your head needs straight ahead. Yep, chin down, thank you. Thank you. A bit too far, babe. Just like this. Thanks. So once I've done my baseline, I like to split it in at the back. I like to split it in the middle, and then I split it to two sides. If you could look into the mirror for me, Coda, that'd be great. Just turn the head all. Yeah, perfect. What that allows us to do is to just trim the front and the side without having to worry about the shoulder. You can see there's nothing here to cut. Really, just tiny little trim on the baseline there. And now if you can look the other way for me. Perfect. Just sit back in the chair. Thank you. A little bit more this way. Perfect. And straight ahead. And just this way again. Thank you. And just nick those little corners off. And just straight ahead for me. Perfect. Done. It's time to frame the face up a little bit. So we're going to start with this triangle section to create a guide for the rest of our shape. And we don't want to do it too short, but definitely need to have this face framed up really well. So you can see my section there. I'm going to spin around now so you can see the projection from the side. Just making sure that the short hair is behind the long hair, because short hair directs long hair. And we just want to create the start of our shape there. I think that's a good length. If you execute this correctly, you can actually have this as a standalone element, and I'll show you. And you pull this back, and that should, even an existing haircut that you haven't done before, that should integrate perfectly like that. So you can see straight away, just one little section, one change. It's really framing a face up nicely, and then that'll flow on into the rest of the haircut. So we've created our guide here. So what I'm going to do now is split this in the middle, and we're going to do one side at a time. We don't want to overlay this. We just want to have a really nice, smooth shape, just to sort of frame, like obviously this one, the one we just did is for the cheek and the chin, depending on how it's styled, and this is all about the body. So it doesn't need to be over the top, but you do need to have a clear defined shape there. Just want to make sure that we don't cut it too short, and the way we avoid that happening is making sure that we turn our body and that we over direct the hair. So you don't want to cut it down this way, you actually want it to come around like this. You can see under there, my guide is there. We don't want to cut here, just to there. You can see it's starting to work down into this longer length, and we keep going until we run out of hair. Chin up a little bit, gorgeous. Head up a bit. Perfect. Thank you. I like to stand behind and just cross check. Looking down, these little hairs in here we'll just clean out. Perfect. Now repeat on the other side. Straight at me. Yep. Again, I like to stand to the side, and we'll just look over the top and cross-check that, and we'll be done. Using geometric techniques like this in long hair are good because we often speak about wash and wear, and real wash and wear means that with a shape like this, coder can literally flat brush a hair like I've done and see a clear defined shape in the hair that requires almost no styling whatsoever, even though today we're actually going to do one of my favourite editorial styles for long hair, and I'll prove that to you by just pulling it off her face so you can see it. I'll spin around this way so I can see first. So we've got the shape here that really brings her face out. It's very gentle, and then we've got this shape coming through here, which is going to ultimately grow out really, really well. It's adaptable to different lengths, so we could have gone shorter and shorter. This could have been shorter. It all flows, but it grows out really well. So for your clients that want a minimal amount off because they're trying to grow their hair, this is a great technique, and they don't have to be worried because the length is here. That hasn't changed, but we've changed the length inside here. So this is something it can be either you can make shorter or you can back it off without any sort of growing out pain whatsoever. Okay, cross-check the front's done. So now we're going to do one of my favourite layering techniques. So we're going to layer the back by cutting it into the front. So I want to take a section through the middle, on the middle parting. So I'm going to spin you this way. I'll do it this way. Be easier for me. So this is a great way to lay the hair if you don't want to take too much of the weight out of the back. Got our guide there. And it requires a little bit of patience because once I've cut my guide, I split it back into the parting in the middle, and I just do it all at once. So you just have to be patient with combing it up to where it needs to be, especially if you're working with more hair. You can split it into multiple sections if the hair's too thick or if your hands are too small and you can't hold it all at once. I like to do it all at once. And then you have to get both sides together. I like to grab a brush to do this first. It's a little bit more comfortable sometimes than using a comb, so we'll just brush it up, majority of it up to here. Just find that when you're combing the hair in multiple directions for haircuts like this, it can often get knotty. So to use a brush to do this part helps get a few of those knots out. Sometimes you get snagged when you use a comb, so you get the majority of it out like that. Long cutting combs for these techniques are good because they're like rulers. You can just hold the hair in the comb, spread out evenly over the plane of the comb. If the hair falls out underneath and it doesn't reach, don't stress too much. This is just cross-checking and requires patience, as I've said, because you have to get all the hair into the one spot. Just sort of make sure that you have balance on both sides. And we'll just a little bit of texture there, not too much. Head forward for me, gorgeous. And head up. We should be able to see a really beautiful shape coming through there now. Now we're going to move into our styling. So I'm going to section this up. There's nothing fancy about the sectioning. Just I'm going to take quite small sections, around about 1 centimetre width. And I'm going to try and make it as tight in terms of the movement as I can, and then we're going to brush it out and make it like editorial style. So you'll see me when I'm back and have it all sectioned up for you. While the hair was wet, I actually prepped it with Wonder Boost before I dried in. So I thought that was quite important to mention because it's essentially going to provide us support for what we're about to do. So you can see it's about 1 centimetre wide. I just get my fingers and I just put them in there like that, create 4 real quick sections. And then we're going to wrap this around this tong as tight as we can. I would recommend using a heat glove if you're going to do this and you haven't done it before, because these irons, if you just touch them once, you burn your hand. Chin down for me. Thank you. Let's spin around a little bit more just so you can see. Literally 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre block of hair. And we're using it horizontally. Leave it in there for around, this is on a medium heat for about 5 to 7 seconds. I want to make sure we give that time to cool down as well. So I'm going to continue to work through there horizontally, and I'll be back when I get to the top. Movements in the hair. So let me just recap on the sectioning. So we did it this way, 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre section. So I took a horizontal section there, took almost like 1 centimetre squares, worked horizontally all the way through to the top. Then underneath here, we took horizontal probably 2 sections, and then we started doing diagonal back, and we did it on both sides. So what I want to do first is comb it out really gently, and then we'll do the styling. So head back, gorgeous. Let's start combing this out. We want to make this quite fun. Just be gentle going through, start in the ends, because what you're likely to do is get caught on the hair and it can be quite uncomfortable. Let's pull this back. So I'm going to start loosening all this up. Again, this is just a really beautiful editorial look. So if I was working with a designer, we're going to a fashion shoot, and you know, they're looking for something that's versatile throughout the day, this is how I'd start, because I can start with the movement in the hair while it's out, then we can start putting it up, we can do a braid. So for you guys out there who are looking for a really beautiful editorial look that is actually, technically it's super basic in my opinion, but it's very, very effective, especially when you've got the right shape in the haircut. It really doesn't need much at all. The previous styles I've done, you've seen I've needed to actually go in, and once you use a flat iron and you've got to move the hair a little bit and put it into position. This is not like that, because essentially it's using the same principles as a set. So provided that the angle of the iron's placed properly when you curl it, we can leave it like that, which I think we're going to, because I think it's beautiful. So let's dress it out and style it, and then we'll be done. So there's 3 products I'm going to use for this. First one is Smooth Setter, and Smooth Setter we're going to use just tiny amount, and we just want to use this sparingly on the insides. And the reason I want on the inside is, you can see here, this is a great example. See the hairs, it's annoying, so we just want to bring this on the inside to bring this back together. I don't mind the airiness on the outside, but on the inside we really need to make sure that's all sitting in together. If you need a little bit more, use a bit more. It's often only used as a straightening balm or as a blow dry balm. It's amazing as like a finishing cream. It's so light, it's very, very hard to kill the hair or make it go really flat using this. So if you guys are using the StyleLink range out there, it might be something to try. You can see that that's just bringing all that back in together through the ends. Going to use some height riser for support in here. Head forward, gorgeous, eyes closed. It's good to ask your clients to close their eyes, because this can actually go into their eyes, especially when you're going this way. This is really good just to get some root lift. I'm just going to spin you around so I can check. Yep, we just want to get that root lift in there. And in the back also, if you could look up to the ceiling for me, gorgeous, that'd be great. It's really nice just to create this plumpness. Always for me, just above the occipital bone. I like to have that sort of fluffy, airy, organic feel. Then, pretty important that you grab a blow dry just to blow the excess off. Just close your eyes, please. And last but not least, we need to use a style fixer. Again, I like to use these on my hands, but before we do that, let me just make sure we've got this combed into place first. Just head up a little bit. Let me just pull this back. Just made it a little bit flat, that's better. So it lifts it up. So I'll spin Cotty this way so you guys can see. We'll just start on this side. So I like to just define this, bring it in. Just keep it quite separate. You don't want it to all clump together. If it looks too perfect, I don't think that's good. We're living in that fashion, that hair fashion era at the moment, where it's all about undone hair. But I don't think it needs to be totally undone. So for me, you can have a balance of done in and around here to frame her face up, but this can be the undone part, and that's why I love using that height riser. We can just really pick that up. Eyes closed, babe. So just gonna spray that away from the face on that side, open her face up, spray there, and then just again a little bit on my hands, just on the inside. I think we're done. Done? Happy?
Super.
So we had a chat before we started. Cotty was a bit apprehensive. I mean, look at me, you never met me before and I'm about to cut your hair, you probably freak out too, right? So she's like, oh, don't cut it short. But today was more about, you know, We often have clients coming in that want to grow their hair and we're scared to actually give them the shape they need to grow it. So that's what we did today. Strong baseline, did some really functional layers. We framed the face up so it's versatile. And then we finished with this beautiful editorial look. So we've smoothed it out quite a lot here, but if we wanted to, we can actually start to make it quite airy. And if you have a look in the back, I've actually loved that soft sort of airy texture that we've got going through there. I think she looks amazing. You glad you trusted me?
Yeah.
You look good.
Yeah, really nice.
If I couldn't make you look good, I'm very bad at my job, let's be honest. Do you have Instagram?
Yes.
Do you want to give it a shout out? And people might go and follow you on Instagram.
J_tirado, which is Tirado. CA_TIRADO.
Done. You might have to press pause, rewind and play that back, but you can. And go and follow me on Instagram too if you don't mind, that'd be great, because I always appreciate your support. So just to recap on the products we used today, we used the So Silver shampoo. You can see that that's sort of taken that brassiness out of the ends. We used the Miracle Creator to prep it before we dried it. Don't forget that I did put the Wonder Boost in, it's just here. I put that in and I dried it in before I cut because it's cutting it dry, and that's why you get that beautiful hold in. So it's really important that you have the right products in the hair to support that style, and if you don't tell your clients that that's what you're doing, it'll be very hard for them to replicate it. So thanks for coming in today, I really appreciate it. Man, I got a high five, that's good. Until next time, see you later.